And today I've got a beautiful guest speaker with me, which is Malissia. She's also known as Mistress Malissia, is a former dominatrix and mentor of the feminine dominance in life and business for visionary women. She's the founder of the educational brand Mistress Mindset and the Dominatrix Academy, which I have enrolled in and I'm super excited about. So hello and welcome to the podcast, Malissia.
Hi, Patricia. It's so great to see you here to chat.
Yay. I usually ask a couple questions to all my guest speakers to get to know them a little bit before we're going to start to get into the topic. Where are you currently at on your self-love and pleasure journey, and what brings you the most pleasure?
Well, on my journey of self-love and pleasure, I would say that I am pretty far off. Everything I do is always with pleasure in mind at first. So I would say that in general, I live my life from a place of, does this bring me pleasure? Or how can this bring me more pleasure? How can I amplify the pleasure that I feel? So pleasure is at the center of everything I do, even when there's pain. We can get off on pain sometimes too.
Yeah, we can. What brings you the most pleasure?
So what brings me the most pleasure right now is when I see that what comes out of me in terms of creation. Like if I create something, if there's something that my whole mental, emotional, and physical self are like bringing to life, if that is then received by someone and that then impacts their life in a positive, pleasurable, transformational way. At this point in my life, it's the thing that brings me the most pleasure is witnessing women's pleasure and the work I do with them. So that is beyond just something we would do intimately. It's how it impacts their lives at a great scale. And of course, seeing my baby walk and talk is definitely something that brings me a lot of pleasure right now as he's 18 months old.
Oh, such a cute age. Dangerous one.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. I can totally relate to that it brings so much pleasure to see others having pleasure. And when you're part of that, this is just, so much joy.
Yeah,
So,
big cause of that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, Mistress Malissia, former pro dom. So how did you end up becoming a pro dom? How was your journey? And then also if you could maybe explain what the difference is between a pro dom and a lifestyle dom.
Well, first, yeah, pro dom means that it's a business. So you do this with having money as at the center of the of the exchange. Doesn't mean that you do it just for the money. It just means that there is a transaction happening. And lifestyle dom would be someone that has this kind of dynamic as part of her lifestyle without having necessarily money involved in it, but can still have money involved, but it wouldn't be as transactional. So the pro dom would have a session for which she's paid. After the session, it's over. She has her own life and her sub has their own life. Lifestyle dom will have subs that are part of her everyday life, whether it's one sub or many of them. Maybe it's her partner even or her husband, but it's a female-led relationship where she is the dominant that leads the relationship as part of her reality, if I may say.
Thank you for explaining. And how did you become a mistress?
Well, I became a mistress when I moved to Australia, actually. And so I'm from Canada. And a few years ago, in 2017, I was dating this Aussie woman who was in Canada traveling, and we met. We got in a relationship and it got serious, and she had to go back to Australia to study. And back then I had just finished my bachelor, and it was pretty much the end of a chapter, and I was ready to travel even before I met her. And I was actually headed to New Zealand. That was the place I wanted to go to. So when she told me, would you come with me to Australia? I thought, oh, it's on the way to where I was going anyway. So why not? And when I went, I had no plan. We didn't know anyone. Her family was from Queensland, but we were going to Melbourne. She didn't know anyone in Melbourne. And it was kind of like taking a huge leap of faith of like, we'll figure it out. And as I went there, it was an opportunity to do and be and have anything I want that is not attached to my identity. Like, no one knows me. I can be anyone. I can do anything. All the things that I've always, fantasized about, thought about. It's like everything's possible. I didn't think of domination until someone from Montreal told me about that. So I was looking for work when I moved there, and I was a mixologist working in kind of high-class hotels and high-class jazz bars, cabarets, doing cocktails. And I thought, okay, I will do that in Melbourne. But Melbourne is kind of the capital of hospitality, and it's not as easy to find work as someone that has a 6 months visa. So they don't want to hire someone for just 6 months when there's so much competition. So it was actually pretty challenging finding work. And then my friend told me, you should just be a dominatrix. And I was like, what is that? And then I looked at it online, read about it, and it was like a revelation to me. It was like, whoa, this is something so like me. I have the personality of a dominatrix already. And that's usually a lot of the things that I read about it was characteristics that I have and that usually are not very encouraged or rewarded or even seen as positive in women. But that's actually what makes a dominatrix a good dominatrix. So I got curious, and I've had previous experience with the sex work industry and with people who are on the submissive side and kink, maybe like 10 years before, something like that. And I remember that these clients were actually my favorite ones. So I decided, why not explore that, but with very conscious boundaries. I needed to feel safe, and that, like, to me, the two main things were like, okay, how can I make it the most safe and the most exciting? So I looked for training, and there was only one a few months after. So it wasn't just yet. It was like, I think 2 or 3 months later, Anonymous was offering a training. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do that when it's done, but I want to start now. So I started advertising, saying I have no experience, but I'm looking for guinea pigs to practice on. And I wanted to practice on them the things that I knew I could already do, which pegging was probably the main one. I was already, a lesbian back then. And back then I was in a relationship with a woman. I was using already a strap-on. That's something I knew, and that's something I've done with men before. And I wanted to do feet worship, pretty mild things. But I did want to explore that in an intimate context with men. So, and staying safe. So I advertised on a site that I forgot what it was called, but a pretty basic site with photos that my girlfriend took of me, with clothes that we got together, and we were pretty kinky together, both of us. So we had a lot of fun kind of playing dress up and doing this together. And she was like, oh yeah, tell me what you do to him. So it was pretty exciting for us that we would do that, and our boundaries were pretty clear. And then I advertised by asking people to write me a letter that they would give me in person, meeting me in a public place, so that we can negotiate the scene and I could vet them there and then and there. And if we both connected, I would keep the deposit and we would book the session. Or if they did not connect or I didn't like them, then I told them you could just keep the deposit. So they had to bring me a letter with my name written on it. An envelope, and in the envelope, a letter on which there would be like a description of their ideal scene with me and a deposit. So it just started like that. People started booking sessions instantly, and I started working. And within a month, I made more money than I had ever made in my life, had amazing feedback, felt so excited about it. And it was almost like Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole.
When I heard that the first time, I'm like, this is such a smart idea to actually have that with a letter, the deposit, and to actually meet someone in a public place, to really just get to know each other first before you actually go into a scene. So it's safe for everybody involved. And I find it like kind of a unique way. So no wonder that you must have attracted a lot of people like, hey, she's doing it differently. I like that.
Yeah, and that way they also knew I wasn't a catfish because I'm showing up and they could see me
Yes.
person, get a sense of me. And for me, a guy that's already showing up, that hand writes something, and like to me already that shows a lot. But also I knew that my intuition is very strong, that instantly I would feel safe or not. So it was really a win-win situation until there was too many people to meet in person, and then that got over.
So what would you say was really challenging on your journey to become a pro dominatrix?
Having no community. I really felt alone in this, and I felt a lot of competition, even from people I didn't know. So there was this one girl in Montreal that I knew from this friend that told me, "Oh, you should be a dominatrix." They knew her, and I had met her, I think, once, and then I was like, "Oh, she's doing that work I want to be doing now. Let me reach out to her." And it was on Facebook, and I just was like, "Hey, I know you're, doing domination, professional domination, and just wanted to ask a few questions because I'm doing this. I'm now in Australia, and do you have any safety tips? Like something like a basic message of like, do you have anything to give?" And her message was the most dismissive thing of like, "How dare you ask me for this?" And like, "Who do you think you are? Like, I built my whole empire myself." And it was really like a go fuck yourself kind of thing. And I was like, whoa, why would a woman reply that to me? And I just felt like she saw me as competition because of the way she replied. But I'm like, I'm not even in your country or in your city. And she was really like, her whole message was like, everything I do is my own practice. It's not something you can learn. And I was like, well, I'll create my own practice then. And I know that on that day, I told myself, no matter what happens, I don't want to be like her. Like if I'm a dominatrix, it would not be that type. And I kind of vouch that I will always help women when to learn anything I have to teach them, which now is a huge part of my life.
I can totally confirm because I've entered your Dom space online and also signed up for your Dominatrix Academy, which we were going to go in shortly as well. And I can feel the spirit, the energy. Like there are some really confident, powerful women in there. Your support, your wisdom sharing. It's like I got in there and I'm like, oh, getting goosebumps. I'm like, this is exactly what I was looking for too. So I can totally understand it's challenging because I work in the sex industry as well. And even as a solo content creator, adult content creator, it's like can be really isolated and there's no community. And especially because it's really hard to connect and embrace on social medias because we're getting shut down all the time. You're losing communities as well. And you've got no safe space to really connect and chat more openly. So I can totally
Yes.
relate with that.
I mean, just asking advice, being like, "Oh, my client did this. What should I do? What would you do?" And everyone can bring something. So having this kind of space not only makes you feel like you're not alone in it, but we can learn from each other and actually get ideas that then we can apply, and it will be our own way. And then we share feedback, and it makes it more exciting. It's like, I can share about this with the others now, like
Yes.
sharing our wins. And I find that this was like I was so lost. I didn't know who to ask until that training I had. And even then after that, there was nothing following up that training. It was like, okay, everyone goes their own way. So I always knew that community, sisterhood is extremely important for me. And I'm also pretty good at bringing women together. So I started a group on Facebook, a free group, the sorority. And then that led into creating one specifically for DOMs because there was a lot of questions regarding this. So I was like, okay, we should have a space just regarding female domination, BDSM, because the other group is more related to like everyday feminine empowerment. And it's from just, someone saying like, okay, what type of application form do you have for your clients? And then everyone sharing, and we get ideas from everywhere. Like, this is something I wish I had. So that's definitely the missing link back then.
Yeah, when I finished my sex education course as well, after that you practice and then come so many questions up. So it's good to have that support to go back. And I meet almost weekly now with some of the other sex educators, and we just share our weekly wins, our weekly challenges, and then we ask each other questions. And I think we're going to extend that a little bit further now too, because I got inspired by you. I'm like, maybe we should like build up on that because it's obviously needed and wanted. So
Yeah, it's definitely wanted. And the past two academies, it was something that that the women asked, and we had it for a little bit, but it was kind of like a practice because I didn't post anything. It was kind of just a space that I kept open. But if I'm not contributing constantly to it, it kind of dies off. So we had a practice run back then. And then I was like, okay, I need to do this in a very curated way next time. Like that's the intention. It's a group. This time it will be paid because also when people pay, they're more engaged. They take it more seriously. Yes. Whereas the other one, I think, was like free or like $10 or something like that. So no one was engaging. And now it's like, I love it. I just love it.
What have you learned mostly on your journey as becoming a mistress and pro dominatrix?
What I have learned is that the feminine, which moves my belief from the feminine, before being a pro dom, the feminine is kind of weak, is how I used to see the feminine before. Something that, because we're so taught to be, almost scared all the time in our feminine, that there's something that's going to happen to us, that we need to not take too much space, not be too loud, not to attract too much attention because we're going to be in danger. And the main thing that shifted for me is that I actually feel way more powerful when I am in my feminine than when I kind of feel like, when I embrace that side of myself, I feel more powerful now than when I hide from it.
I love that. Yeah, we're getting told, don't be too smart, too sexy, too confident. You're going to be too intimidating. Like you can hear all of these things and then you shut yourself down and be like, yeah, no, okay. So I'm already on that way too, where I'm just embracing that part of me now as well. What kind of female domination kinks, fetishes did you enjoy the most?
Oh, my favorite is bondage, heavy bondage.
Yeah.
So that's what I was specialized in. I loved the idea of being able to just think in my head, in what kind of position could I put them in? And let's see how long they can stay in it. And then creating different, like using chains or ropes, or even like I mostly would use chains actually more than rope. And then eventually I started learning shibari, incorporating shibari because I was traveling so much and rope was very lightweight. So it was easier to travel with than chains, and chains were kind of for my dungeon. So I loved putting people in bondage, and even like for an hour, like bringing them into a deeper state of stillness. And then when they're there, I would just then look at them almost like a piece of art. I just create it. And most of the time I would even blindfold them and kind of deprive them of all their senses. I love sensory deprivation. And I will just tell them in their ear something like, now I'm going to get naked and get in the bathtub. What a shame. You can't see this. I love tease and denial.
What a tease. Yeah.
I love that.
Same, love to tease. You want to feel turned on by your own life, to feel lit up by your own pleasure. You want to be and live pleasure lit. I am Patricia. I was the good girl. I survived an ED and a DV marriage. And the shift came when I started to reconnect with my body. Somatic pleasure changed everything for me in my life, business, motherhood, and relationships. Now, I wake up feeling deeply alive in my body. I feel pleasure in the ordinary moments. I receive love, pleasure, success, rest without shutting down or rushing past it. I know what it costs a woman to keep functioning, to keep performing, to be disconnected from her body. And I also know what becomes possible when a woman starts to feel it all. I am the founder of Pleasure Lit and an award-winning pleasure explorer and educator. Through my trauma-informed somatic pleasure, tantra, yoga, breathwork, and feminine embodiment, I guide women from high functioning and being disconnected into feeling radiant, regulated, and deliciously turned on. If this sparked something inside of you, this is your invitation. Join us within the Pleasure Lit Circle, my online community for women with life goals and somatic pleasure practices. Get my #1 bestseller book, The Pleasure Lit Way, to awaken, deepen, and widen your pleasure potential. For more pleasure exploration, you can tune into my voice notes at Women's Pleasure Notes on Substack and go deeper within my online courses. You can also apply for one-on-one coaching and book me for your workshops, events, and speakings. You can choose your path at pleasurelit.com. In regards to female domination, so you have done obviously in person. Have you done online female domination as well?
Yes. So actually, my business really exploded during the pandemic. I was doing a lot of in-person sessions up until then. I opened my dungeon in Montreal in actually 2019. So just a few months later, there was the pandemic. So I was like, okay, I need to like think what to do now. And that's when I signed up to a site called AVN Fans, which now is shut down. Then it was more Loyal Fans. But yeah, I created a whole practice online, and I was giving a lot of online sessions, which is not on a fun site. It's actually like sessions through video. And that is the thing that people craved because everyone was locked down. So they couldn't just go see a Dom. So they all were already on their computer. So to meet, and I was getting really creative and more creative to keep them really engaged during that 1 hour session online, using different sounds, using different lights, using different materials, putting the camera in my cage, like all these things. I was having so much fun and making them do things and telling them like, okay, now, like I had a sub who was into a heavy breath play. And we were getting into so many things of like, okay, now you're going to put yourself in the garbage bag. And now you're going to put yourself in this type of bag. And now you're going to stay there. And I would start putting my voice, my mouth inside of a bag to speak through the bag so he can hear me almost like I'm there next to him. So it was really, really fun. And I did that up until until I retired. I did a lot of online sessions.
Do you believe online sessions is like the way to go? What's going to grow in demand?
I think that nowadays, if you want to be a pro dom and you don't want to do online, you're just missing out on a lot. So I wouldn't say it's the way to go, but I would say you really limit yourself if you don't want to bring that into your business.
Yeah, so online is definitely my way. I'm all online, and this is just the way it's best for me in my situation. So one other thing that I was curious, have you or do you have an example of like a submissive sub transformation? Have you been with someone where you could really see what female domination has positively done for the sub?
Oh, absolutely. Mostly people that I would see that it would become my personal subs. So there was people that I've seen transformation from sessions, but that transformation was happening within the session and then within themselves, not necessarily on their everyday life. So having someone coming and telling me like, oh, I want to take this huge dildo, and they bring a suitcase of their biggest dildos and I want to take it all, and then they can't. But the thing is that, just as you may know, with anal, like the main thing is it's like this liminal space between extreme pain and extreme pleasure. And the one thing that will lead to pleasure is if you completely surrender. So a lot of people who want pegging, and especially with big dildos, they unconsciously really want to be in a state of surrender. And I could see that he was resisting surrendering, that there was something on his mind, that he was it was hard for him to be present. And I was like, let's do something very different. Do you trust me? And then I did more my shamanatrix kind of a scene, which was more related to heavy bondage and like even using Tibetan bowl and breath and a lot of that. And he's ended up crying, and he was in chain, and I'm like removing the chains, and I'm like, you're holding so much on you, and I'm going to free you now. And at some point he was like, ah! And then he cried and he told me, I'm going through this in my life and I feel like it's all on my shoulders and I can't, like, he was just so overwhelmed that he was in need of a session like that to finally let go, and he couldn't. And I was like, let's go in another direction. So that was a huge transformation for something like that. But my personal subs, I would always have them under contract. And in these contracts, there was me kind of owning their body, their brain, and their breath. So I would like have impact on what they eat, have like fitness schedules. They would have a breath work to do, books to read. So they completely changed, like their body changed. How sometimes I would even encourage them to like speak more. A lot of them are very shy. They don't want to take space. We love that in subs, but I also really value someone who challenges themselves. And, you know, a lot of people who don't have the ability to just speak up easily, especially in that context of like power dynamic, they sometimes step on their own boundaries. And me as their mistress, I want to encourage them to always voice their boundaries, even with me, even if it goes against something I really want, because I never want to take advantage of the fact that they can't speak up or something like that. So I would encourage them to tell me or write me letters if they can't speak, where they say exactly how they felt during a moment without being scared of how I'm going to feel, just so they can express themselves. And a lot of them ended up being able to just, I want to say to speak up, but it's true, to speak up, to be more conscious of what they eat, where they put their money, what they buy, to more consciousness. I would say huge transformations. Yes, I mean, they still now write to me telling me that it changed their life, and how their girlfriend now is really like, wow, where did you learn that? And they would be like, well, my mistress.
This is one of the things that really stood out when you just popped up on my feed on social media, and I was recently like, oh, I should really like finally go down that path and explore my more dominant side, because I was really suppressing it for a while now. And it just tickled, and so many signs life given me, and I'm like, yeah, later. And then you popped up on my feed, and I'm like, there's something about her. And I first love your mindset approach, that really the dominance is like apart from us, it's our extension. And it's really from the inside out, because we have to feel it, we have to embody it. And then everything else is a skill that you're just going to be adding. But also your approach of the subs becoming a valuable and loyal sub. And I recently came across something. I don't want to break you, I want to make you. Like, what I feel like is, I want to actually do like more sub training, slave training, to really teach them, like you said, all right, you can read this book and write me a summary about this book. And everything that is what I teach and train is actually helping not just me, but them, helping to become a better lover and person in the world for women as well. So if they see another woman in need, help them. If you read this book about female pleasure, you know how to pleasure a woman. So like getting to step by step, having them healthier lifestyle, active lifestyle, healthy eating. So this is like what's on my mind, where I'm like, I like that approach.
Yeah, I created recently a whole submissive training subspace that I called Subspace for Subs, because I was training all these women, these DOMs, and then they're like, where are all the good subs? And I was like, let me just create something as a mentor, not as a mistress. You're going to be devoted to me. So it was really curated in a way that I didn't want to bring their devotion towards me, but to meet a mistress with who they could share that. And it was really focused on like, how can you be an asset in her life and not a liability? Because a lot of people that I see online, the way they treat subs, it doesn't necessarily serve anyone to have someone that's a loser, that can't do anything, that is useless. And I've even had subs be like, oh, but mistress, I know that I ruined this for you, but I'm just a man after all. And I'm like, but man up. It's like, no, it's because you're a man. There's so much you can do for me. Like, why would I surround myself with someone that actually is of no use and can't serve me? You know, I actually value the masculine, especially when it's in service to the feminine. So I was like, I started being very selective with the subs that I would see, and training them to see themselves as someone that can serve me for real, not just serve their fetishes through me, or that would then blame their inability on the fact that they're men and things like that. So I think it's very important, especially, you know, it's a relationship, there's an exchange of energy. So if you put all that time and energy towards someone that is not bringing you much except money, even then it's like, it's not something that I find very nourishing.
Yes, it really matters the energies you surround yourself with. And as a queen, I want to have
Mhm.
servants who are like really bringing something to the table that I can make good use of and which will be good for them, good for us, good for everybody.
Exactly.
Have you got any tips for any woman who wants to step into her dominatrix persona, who wants to learn more about it? Can you tell us about Dom Space or your Dominatrix Academy?
So already, I would say that if you are attracted to the idea of taking more space, being more, confident, more assertive, if already these types of women are women that appeal to you, then there is something in you that desires that, and that this kind of is lit up by these women, because not everyone is like that. And that's why I always, it's important to me, the women, when they join the academy, to know why they want to be DOMs and like what's their intention. Because from doing this work a lot of the people, women, will join and find it kind of glamorous and exciting, but they're not really desiring to embrace that role. So I would already ask myself, why are you attracted to that? Why do you want that? And then what in your life prevents you from being that? Like, are you scared that people are going to judge you? Or are you scared of losing something? Like, what prevents you from being that right now? Like, already these questions can make you be like, this is for me, or, oh yeah, this is not for me. So when you're sure that it is for you, then you are on that kind of Alice in Wonderland path where you enter the rabbit hole little by little. And yeah, Dom Space is a space where you can come and explore. There's already over 20 videos on replay that you can watch. And we talk about as many things related to professional domination and lifestyle domination and how to be a dom even in the world. So you can just join for a month, see how you feel, how you like it, and there's no strings attached. That could be just an entry point. And I always suggest Dom Space before even booking a one-on-one call with me, because I've had Doms book one-on-one calls and they're like, oh my God, I entered Dom Space and there's so much information here that now that it answered a lot of my questions, actually. So now I even ask before people book calls, do you want to first enter Dom Space? It's like half of, like a third of the price of a session, and you get so much that maybe you won't at this point in your journey need that one-on-one session. I actually have more one-on-one sessions with women that are already very established, that have their business rolling, and they want to go deeper, higher, to elevate to another level, more than someone just starting off. Because Dom Space is really like, you want to start off, Dominatrix Academy as well. It's really to build a Dom from the ground up. So I've had Doms that have a huge following, career, have been doing this for like 10 years, and they're like, can I join Dominatrix Academy? And I'm like, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend that. It's not necessarily for you, because the idea is really to start from the ground up. And these women, they want to be like you. So that's why the Dominatrix Academy is good if you're just starting, because we look, first of all, at your persona and your mindset and the woman behind the persona and your voice and the energy, and then the brand you want to create, and what kind of subs do you want to attract, and what do you want to play, and what are your desires, and understanding the psychology of all the fetishes and the kinks and the submissive training. So we touch on everything, and it's constantly evolving. And anyone who enters the academy gets lifetime access and all new courses. You always have access to the new courses as well. So it's like an ever-growing space. And my idea is for this to be always available, and you always can kind of get the new thing coming up, because I evolve, I learn new things. So I want to always add to it. So when you start, I would already think, okay, why am I attracted to that? What specifically is it that I'm attracted to? Is it the clothes? Is it the idea that a man is on his knees in front of me? Is it the idea that I'm not scared to show up like that? What is it specifically that attracts you? And why do you feel like that's something you don't have right now? Or what kind of blocks you from accessing it right now? So that already will give you a lot of answers if you want to contemplate that.
I love that. I loved that you approach it this way, that you have to answer these questions to actually get into the space, because it really made me think, okay, And I think the question of like why I wanted it was easier to answer, or like why do I feel it, because life just gave me so many signs. But then speaking out loud that I actually suppressed it because of society, because I'm not meant to be dominating a man, and I should be, should be the other way around. I was like, oh, what do other people think? What does my family think? And I'm like, I'm working in the sex industry, so who cares? So that was like really the push where I'm like, yeah, now I'm gonna embrace that now. And I love that you've just mentioned we're going through so many things within the academy, because I feel like since I've now opened up that world, there's so much to explore. I mean, I've already got BDSM, kink, swinging, and all of that experience. It's like a buffet. Like, what do I want to choose? What do I want to pick from all these kinks and fetishes that I like? And like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have loved my feet to be worshipped or touched, because it wasn't a thing. But over the last few years working as an adult content creator with OnlyFans and attracting so many people who love my feet, but also so many other body parts of me, like my armpits, my muscles, my thighs. I've never looked at myself that way, but slowly over time, I'm like, I have nice armpits and I have beautiful feet, and I'm actually starting to fall in love with my own body. And I'm like, guys, you make me feel really good about myself. And I'm like, I love being worshipped. So it was slowly building up, and I'm getting to know myself. So now I'm like, yeah, I think this is going to be nice. This is going to be nice. And I'm going to pick that.
Yeah, and worship is actually, it forces you to be able to really receive,
Yeah.
and to really see your own worth and value, and because if you don't see yourself worthy, if you don't see yourself beautiful, if you're not capable of receiving compliments, you won't be able to be worshipped, or it will be very performative. So it won't have the effect it can have. And then you can't even play with it or use it against them, because you're going to be in a constant thing of like, really? Why do they like that? Or, do it for them. Oh, yeah. Lick my feet. But then you do that because, they like it, not because you like it. So then it's them topping from literally the bottom.
Yeah, that's something that I've learned then too, or still working towards, to receiving more, to actually be in then that feminine part where I'm like, okay, now I'm going to receive all these compliments. I'm going to receive all that body worshipping. And I've learned to not just say like, oh, really? Like my hair looks all right? But no, thank you. Or like, oh, you wish you could touch my long hair now, wouldn't you? Like, you just like playing with it. And they're like, yeah, I would.
Exactly.
No, you can't.
Yes, because you see it too.
Yeah, I love that. So before we're gonna wrap up this episode, I'll usually ask a couple more questions. Where can people find you if they want to reach out?
Well, I mostly hang out on Instagram, or Twitter, X. My Instagram is mistress.mindset, and on X, I'm Miss Malissia, which I kept from back in the days. And my website is mistressmindset.com.
Amazing. Do you have a favorite pleasure toy? And if so, what is it?
My favorite pleasure toy, pleasure toy. Like for me or for someone else?
Whatever you want to share.
Well, I used to really, and I say used to because there's a lot of things that I was doing as a pro dom that I don't do, in my personal life, which were body bags. I love body bags. I love. To me, that's so exciting, putting someone in complete bondage in that way and taking advantage of them. And chastity is probably my favorite. Yeah, a chastity cage. That's something I incorporate in all my sessions, that I used during subspace. That's one of the main things that I've played with. I didn't brand myself as someone that is like specialized in chastity or only does chastity. I didn't want it to be like my main niche, but I would say that's probably one of my main things is chastity play, because I love tease and denial so much.
Yeah, I'm adding that too as a pleasure toy queen.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite lingerie or something that makes you feel really sexy and delicious?
Yes, I have many. I think my favorite brand is NOSS. They have really great products. I love their brand. And I actually find that most fetish wear brands are not up to my standard, but NOSS definitely meets my standards. And they also have an educational page. They Yeah, it's NOSS Education. They're a Ukrainian brand, and they are very polished, let's say, for fetish wear. So I wouldn't say necessarily that their fetish wear is very lingerie. They do have a lot of mesh. They have bodysuits. They have latex. But for lingerie,
I need to adjust that question to make it, what's your favorite, just sexy wear?
yeah,
Or
sexy
whatever
wear.
makes you feel good, like if that's fetish, kink, lingerie, or going commando without any.
Yeah.
What is your favorite book recommendation?
Ooh, I actually have a book club in the sorority, and we just finished a book last week. Now we're starting another one, and it's a free club if you want to join. And it was called Pussy by Mama Gina. So Pussy is favorite book recommendation. I don't know if I have a favorite book. This is the latest one I read, which is why it's at the top of my head. But favorite book recommendation. I mean, I will say Pussy. I'll stand by it because right now it's at the surface.
A Pussy Power.
Yes, Pussy Power.
I read that on the plane flying, and people are like, what's she reading?
Yeah, it's Pussy. Yeah, I love it.
All right, very last question, and we usually leave the audience with that. What is your number one tip for self-love and pleasure to share with the audience?
My number one tip for what?
Self-love and pleasure, or pleasure.
Mm. For self-love and pleasure. Well, I personally take a whole day every single week that is only focused on me. So I'm a mother, and I work full time on business, but this is like a boundary from a place of devotion, is to have a whole day where I'm just focused on myself. And on these days is when I will go get a massage. I'm going to do writing. I have energy healing sessions. That's the days I will go get my nails done. And it's really a whole day just about me. And it's things that I wouldn't necessarily incorporate in other moments of my week where I need to be more focused and productive. So journaling is my main, writing, not just journaling, but writing is my number one practice of self-love. I think the
Thank
video.
you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, I would love to hear from you what has resonated with you from this episode. Leave us a comment down below. And when you loved this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star rating, and also share it along so we can spread more pleasure into this world. You can access my free Pleasure Lit workshop at pleasurelit.com/links. Sending you lots of love and pleasure. Mwah.